enjoy. Cheers. Hey guys, welcome to episode 3. Frittata and scones. It's our brunch masterclass. Brunch starts off with the Gen 7 private cuvee, of course. We could easily just do a glass of sparkling wine. Super, super easy. But we're gonna do the Noir de Noir. The Noir de Noir is our sweet dessert red wine. We're gonna do 2/3 of our private cuvee. And we're gonna do 1/3 of our black velvet, AKA Noir de Noir. Let's get cracking. Okay, wanna make sure your oven is on 400 degrees convection bake or pure convection. If you don't have that feature, put it on bake. I think I say in the recipe 425 degrees roughly. Make sure the oven is ready to go. Then the next thing is to make sure your butter is melted. So we have 4 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm gonna go ahead and count these off. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, now continue with the dry ingredients. Let's go ahead and add the salt, 2 teaspoons of salt. And with the salt, you need to be accurate. You don't want to do a heaping, nothing like this. You want to shake it off and get it right there, level. And that is 2. The salt is in. Now the next is the baking powder. 2.5 tablespoons of baking powder. And then 1/2. What this recipe will be able to give to you is a wonderful base. You can make savory scones, chocolate chip pecan, cranberry, orange and chocolate, chive, thyme, cheese scones. There's so much you can do. 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. Now with cinnamon, if you'd like more cinnamon, go for it. Just put more in. There we go. And mix it up. Also sugar, 3 tablespoons of sugar. I like to kind of do this at the end. Go ahead and grab your chocolate chips as well. Make sure they're from the freezer. If they've been out for an hour or so, that's okay. When the chocolate chips are room temp, they tend to actually burn when you're cooking them because these scones are going into the oven longer than a chocolate chip cookie. So when they're frozen, it protects the chocolate chips. 2 cups or so. Again, you don't have to be super accurate, as close as you can. If you love chocolate chips, you can even put more. What I'm using right now is 1/3 of a cup, so 3 of these equals 1 cup. Now mix this all together. All of your dry ingredients are in. You can also put this in your mixer as well. Hand mixer, no, but your large mixer, you can do that too. But the most important thing about this is that you don't want to over mix it. All right, now we have our butter, melted butter here. It's not too warm, and then oil too. Now I want a neutral oil. I like sunflower, safflower. You can use grapeseed oil. Do not use olive oil or any other strong oils. We got our butter, we have our oil, and then we're gonna do our milk. So we're gonna do 1.5 cups of milk. All right, 1.5 cups. 1/4 cup oil. So I'm gonna put the 1/4 cup of oil in here. Okay, almost there. Go ahead and pour the butter in, get all the beautiful solids, then the milk. I wouldn't use one of these, the whisks, because it's gonna get stuck in here. Use one of these, much better, much better. What I like to do is kind of fold, get the bottom part as well with all the other flours down below. It's like a chocolate chip cookie dough. That's ready to go. Now, to make it easier, grab a little bowl, like so, and add a little flour in there to hit with your hand. And grab a tablespoon, a nice sized tablespoon. I'm gonna use this as well. Your cookie sheet. Let's go ahead and form these. Let's just kind of rub it together, just lightly. And then in the directions it says you want a tennis ball size scone. It just depends on, tennis ball, yes. It's really in between a racquetball and a tennis ball. So for example, this is basically what it looks like. And you form it very lightly, okay? We're not gonna roll it out, we're not gonna do a circle, none of that. We're going to just take him, caress it into a nice ball, semi-ball. And you're gonna get about 12 or so on a tray. If you wanna use a cookie scooper, you can, but again, it's a little bit aggressive because you want them to be nice and supple. So really light-handed. And because you're not pressing too hard, sometimes when they're cooking, they're gonna just split a little bit. Again, like I said earlier, you could easily put in pecans or almonds in this too. I'm just looking at them, make sure they're just shaped the way they need to be shaped. Here's what it looks like. So the next step is to sprinkle sugar on top of the scones. So take your tablespoon or any spoon, teaspoon, whatever you have in the kitchen, and you want to just dust it on there. Sugar I'm using is a thicker sugar. I like to be at the higher level in the oven because there's more heat above than down below. My rack is second from the top. As you see in the recipe, I think I have 18 minutes, so I'm going to do 18 right now. I think it says between 16 and 18. We want golden brown, but we don't want it raw in the middle, so it's that fine balance. Let's go ahead and move on. We're going to switch to the frittata. Use the 12-inch pan. This helps keep everything kind of to limited basis as regards to how much stuff to clean on a Sunday morning. We're going to go ahead and get this thing going a little bit. Get the flame going. Just on warm right now. I'm going to get some olive oil in there. Let's go ahead and start chopping up the asparagus. Asparagus needs a little bit more time to cook. Most important thing about asparagus, you don't want the woody part of it at all. So, there's certain ways to figure out where the woody part is. Some people say, well, whatever actually breaks off, that's the woody part, that's the soft part. Absolutely, that's where it's at. If you want to hand snap them, you can. I just like to do kind of quick with grabbing a handful, stacking them up. You then go upside down, so all the tips are at the same location. And then what you want to do is cut. Now we're going to go ahead and dice them, right? So about a ½ inch. It's not a science, just get to bite size. If the sizes are bigger than a ½ inch, again, not a big deal. Oil should be nice and hot. I'm going to go ahead and bring the board over. Some pinch of salt. Now I'm going to move on to our shallot and onion. I like to cut the shallot in half lengthwise, like this. And then you just take one of the layers off. And now we're just going to dice it up. So now I'm going to throw them in the pot as well. I'm going to hit them with a little bit of salt too, just a little bit. Now the key is we don't want the fire to get too hot but not too cold. So right now I'm going to just turn it down a skosh. We're going to do a ½ onion. Again, I'm going to just go down on one side here and keep the back side connected. Now through the middle with my knife. I'm going to do a perfect dice. Alright, so now I've got the onions, and I'm going to put the onions in the pan. A little bit of salt for the onions. So now it's going to take about 5 minutes to kind of get some nice color on the onions. Perfect. Okay, now off to the ham. And I said in the recipe 6 ounces, but if you like a little more, 8 ounces, not a big deal. And what we're going to do is we're going to dice this, and then we're going to throw them into the mixture here. I'm going to cut these guys up. Slice it down the lengthwise. Cubes that are not too big but not too small. For example, like this. Nice bite size. Go ahead and move your veggies around. Get a little brown now, which is good. I'm going to just finish dicing this up. Okay, excellent. Ham's going in. So right now the onions are exactly the color I want and the asparagus is cooked exactly what I want. So I turn off the heat. I'm just going to let the ham kind of warm up a little bit here. And now let's go to the next cocktail. How's that sound? Before we do that, let's check out the scones. See the edges are golden? 23 seconds left. We'll give them 23 seconds and then we'll pull them right out. Let me get my hot pad. Now we're going to let them cool. We're going to adjust the temperature of the oven for the frittata. Convection bake is fine. That's exactly what I have. 365. So I'll let it cool down a little bit. I'm going to get a plate. The key with scones is that you need to remove them off the hot tray because once they cool down, they stick to the tray. Like, look at that. Crazy. We have our veg and our ham kind of cooling down. Make sure you also have your cheese ready to go, your Parmesan cheese, and also your grated either Gruyere or cheddar cheese as well, so make sure you have that. And the Boursin. So I have the Boursin right here. We're gonna do a dark screwdriver. Fresh squeezed orange juice or tangerine juice. I have my ice here. We have an Noir Noir. We have our sparkling as well. Gotta get vodka. 3 ounces of vodka. Use good vodka. Okay, 3 ounces vodka. All right, we're gonna do 2 ounces Noir de Noir. 2 ounces OJ. 2. Pulp is good too. Then last is sparkling, 4 ounces of sparkling. Isn't that pretty? So a little orange peel on top, squeeze on top, a little twist. You could also add Italian cherry, one of the beautiful Italian cherries. Woo-hoo-hoo! Cheers, everybody. Enjoy. Talking about dangerous. This is dangerous. All right, let's get into the eggs. So as you see the recipe, it calls for 8 whole eggs and 4 egg whites. Some people crack it on the side. Everybody has their own method. I like the method that's just straight, flat on the surface. And then with the egg whites, I'm gonna let the whites separate from the yolk within the shell. Let's put the egg whites in the bowl. Before we put salt, we're gonna go ahead and mix them real quick. If you got a hand blender or mixer, I wouldn't use that. I'd use it by hand. You could use a big fork as well. Half a teaspoon of salt. For this, you really wanna be perfect. Now I'm gonna mix the salt in. We can go ahead and get some herbs going. We have chives and we have our thyme. It reminds me of my mother. She used to make her eggs with thyme, and so I love using thyme in eggs. Hit the ends, and if you like more, go for it. You're gonna probably have some stragglers, some longer pieces. Let's go ahead and put that inside. With thyme, as you can see, the best part of the thyme are the top. You know, the leaves, obviously, but also the top too. So you can take the stems and the leaves together and then chop them together to get your amount. Or you could strip them. I'm going to actually just strip a few. Just kind of rough chop this. It's good to actually make the thyme smaller than the chives, so you can actually incorporate the flavor versus somebody chewing on like a stem or a big piece of thyme. So put that in. Add a little more air, kind of whip this all together. Next, we're gonna do our beautiful hot sauce. Now in there, I said either Tapatio or Cholula, if you can get those in your store. Tabasco is a no bueno. Has a vinegary note to it. It is vinegar in your face with a little bit of spice. I like Tapatio or Cholula. So I'm gonna put Tapatio. Depends how you like this. When the frittata's finished and you have your slice and you have your scone, your cocktail, you could also have a little bit on extra to sprinkle on your frittata. We're gonna go ahead and do a teaspoon, but if you want a little spicier, go for it. Everything is all incorporated, right? If you want to add some cracked pepper, you can go ahead and do that right now, just a little bit. Let's do the cheese, let's do the milk. Bourzogn's ready to go. Not gonna put it in yet. Bourzogne goes in last. We got a half a cup of milk. Let's put that in first. My beautiful wife did it for me already. So half a cup of milk goes right in. Incorporate that. See, you're getting a little bit more foam too as well. And I have my Gruyere right here, shredded Gruyere. 1 cup of Gruyere. So that's about a cup, roughly. A half a cup of Parmesan. Not too accurate. It's a half a cup, maybe a little bit more. There you go. Mix it all in, incorporate all the cheese except the Bourzogne. Now everybody get a large fork versus using your whisk. Roughly it's half of the Bourzogne disc. I love the flavor. This one is, I think it's a shallot and onion. There's one with garlic and, maybe it's garlic and shallot, and this is chive and onion. This is much better with the chive versus the garlic because you don't really want to incorporate garlic. I'm gonna cut this in half. If you want to go crazy, use the whole thing. And then you want to break it up in your hands the best you can. Just kind of lightly break it up. All right, so now, fork. With the Bourzogne, you want to just move it around. You're going to see some large chunks. That's what the fork's for. You stab the chunks and you twist and you break the Bourzogne up. All right, so now the Bourzogne's incorporated. We're going to go back and grab the asparagus and the ham. Now it's all cool, right? It's all cooled down. Everybody goes in the pool. Everybody's in, excellent. Just fold in the ham and your veg. Just fold it right in. Everything is incorporated. Here's the fun part. Like I said earlier, put it in a different dish, a casserole dish, a glass dish, whatever is easiest for you. So with the pan, put about 3 tablespoons of olive oil. So I'm gonna do about 3. 1, 2, 3, more or less. Fire it up just a little bit, just so the oil is just not hot. I don't want it hot. I just want it warm. Okay. Now, gonna take my whole entire egg mixture. Yes, you'll have oil on the sides. I like to kind of just move this around just a little bit. A little olive oil on top. So, ready for this? So we're gonna go right in the oven. It's gonna go into the middle lower left. Okay. And now, we're gonna put on 18 minutes. All right. Now, it's perfect for us to try the scone. Best part, taste it. Awesome. You have the crunch with the sugar. You have the beautiful chocolate note to it, a little bit of cinnamon. You have a little saltiness to it, just a little bit. And we're gonna do a third drink right now. Pineapple juice and rum. It's called the Devil's Punch. Starts off with spiced rum. I mean, you can't go wrong with spiced rum. This is 5 ounces of rum. So here we are, 2, 4, 5. 4 ounces of pineapple juice and 4 ounces, 2, 4. Oh, need a bigger glass. Noir de Noir, 3 ounces, 3. Then, last but not least, we are going to hit it with 6 ounces of sparkling wine. You can make this up in a pitcher too, or 6. That is Devil's Punch. Get a little stirry stir. And if you have a little pineapple for garnish, you can do that. Cheers, everybody. It's been in here for 18 minutes, and I'm gonna take the pan and I'm gonna jiggle it to make sure the middle part is not jiggly. It's gotta be firm. Still a little jiggly. Okay, that's gonna be probably another 5 more minutes. I hear my little buzzer. Let's go check it out. Nope, see, it's not jiggling, just the oil's jiggling. Look at that. Set it aside. Absolutely spectacular. Now that handle's gonna be damn hot. Does it not jiggle? Does it look brown on top? Let's let it cool down for a couple minutes. That's a pie spatula. If you don't have one, get one. Works fantastic. My serrated knife. Now it's gonna be super hot. For those that like to use non-stick, it's gonna come out no problem. If you really wanna do something fun, if you had a large plate that is larger than the circumference of the pan itself, you can put the plate on it and then invert the pan, and then you can serve it that way to your guests. It does take practice because you gotta use a knife, you have to get around the edges, but if you use a non-stick pan, you can use less oil for sure, then you can go ahead and flip it over. We don't have that, we're cutting right into it. I'm gonna take 2 bites, one without my hot sauce, and then one with. See how it's not overcooked, it's not dry at all, it's light and fluffy. It is completely cooked all the way through. There it goes. That's awesome. There's enough flavors going around for sure. Let me grab a little salsa. Oh yeah, oh yes. Enjoy it, it's great tomorrow as well. Put it in the fridge, you know, have it for lunch or a snack. Looking forward to our next one together, and cheers to all of you, and I'm very humbled by your support. Thank you so much.